Okay, guys, and welcome to our first, I would say, episode. Our first episode of learning how to program. Alrighty, so we start off first with Python. And as I said, your first step begins with the snake. I don't know if that sounds so great, but hey, the snake won't bite you. It's a friendly snake. And your snake is a Python. Alrighty, what is Python? Let's get into it. What is Python? Well, according to the developers, Python is a is powerful and fast and plays well with others, runs everywhere, is friendly and easy to learn, and it's an open source. So that's what the gist of what Python is. But let's give you some more. Python is what's known as an interpreted language, which is it's actually processed at runtime by the interpreter. You do not need to compile your program before executing it. This is kind of similar to Perl and PHP. And I know you guys who are watching this, you're new to programming, so you're like, okay, how does this help me? I just thought it was it's just useful information. Python can be interactive. I wouldn't say it is interactive, but it can be if you're using the interactive shell, which we'll be covering in this particular video. You can sit at a Python prompt, interact with the interpreter directly as you write the programs. And Python is an object-oriented language. You don't worry about that. Don't worry about what object-oriented is and all of that. We'll be covering all of that. But you just learn that, Python is that. And really, most persons refer to Python as a beginner's language. Why? Because it's really close to English. So if you know English, it's really close to it. It's not really codey. Chances are doing Python for the first time, you're going to say, boy, that looks a lot like, regular, everyday, speech. And that's the beauty of Python. All right. Let's move on. The beauty of Python, I did mention it. It's a good starter language. We mentioned that before. And it is flexible. Flexible meaning that you can write small programs, simple programs that are useful, and you can even go and build really big, humongous stuff. I was reading yesterday where they have something called bioinformatics, if I remember correctly, and most of what's done in that field, it's used are executed with Python programs. Very interesting stuff. Alright, it is powerful. Well, I just mentioned bioinformatics, so you get the idea. Pretty powerful. And it's going places. So if you're learning Python or you're wondering, should I be learning Python, you need to know it's going places. So if you want to go places, this is the language you should want to learn. So that to me is the beauty of Python. So let's begin. So we're going to be starting off with our first topic, which is variables. Okay, so the first thing you're going to ask me, what are variables? And I would say to you, variables are really boxes that contain information. But before we get into that, you need to know where to download Python. You can't just run Python on your computer at this moment. You just don't take up Python and you just click on something and it works. You have to go to python.org and go to the download section and download the version of Python you want, just like you see here. So basically you can choose either Python 3.51 or Python 2.7.11. And how does it really work is this. There are slight differences between the two versions, but as a beginner it doesn't really matter. And all you need to do is download it, click next, and pretty much that's how it works, and you have Python. When you have Python installed, you are going to bring up something that's called an interactive shell. I will be probably doing a video how to set up your Python environment, but for this video we'll be just focusing on variables. So I'm just showing you where you can get it. So we will be getting to the actual shell that we can learn what variables are. I don't want to spend much time talking about setting up the environment. I'll probably do that in another video. Plus there are many videos across the web on YouTube telling you to do just that. So let's get to our shell. So this is the good stuff. What are variables? Let me tell you. Variables are boxes, containers that store information. So what it does is a computer program has memory, but it doesn't have unlimited memory, just like us. We don't have unlimited memory. So we have to reserve a space in memory for whatever we're going to do, that the computer remembers it and stores it and says to itself, this is important. So in order to do that, we set a variable. So in Python, that's very simple. To make a variable, all you have to do is name a variable. So I will call this one happy. So my variable is called happy, and inside happy we can store even a number. So we can store 10. So the number 10 is stored inside the variable happy, or the box happy, or even the space happy. Whatever you want to call it, that's where it is. So go ahead and make your variable, call it whatever you want, put that equal sign and put the number 10. And that is how we store a number in a variable. So whenever we want to refer to the number 10, we can just simply type happy. So what type of variables can you name, or how it is? There are different types of variables and stuff that you can use in Python. So pretty much how it really works is not very difficult. The variable types really are what is known as an integer, which is, let me see if I can bring my mouse here. This 10 is what's called an integer. We'd probably call it a number, but for programming purposes we call it an integer. So that is the data type. Sorry, that's what we call it, data type. The happy is the variable and 10 is the data type. So the type of data, or the data type, is an integer, right? So we have integers. What else do we have? We have strings. So I'm going to call this one cold, and I'm going to give it a string. Strings in Python are written with an open quotation, could be a single, or it can be double quotation, and you can say I am going to love this code. All right, and this highlighted pink words is what we call strings in Python. So they're called strings in other languages, but they're also called strings in Python. So code, which is our variable, is now storing I am going to love this code. So the 10 at the top is really an integer, and at the bottom we have code equal I'm going to love this code, which is a string. All right, what else do we have? We also have what's known as floats. What are floats? Floats are decimal numbers. That's what we would call decimal numbers, or floating point numbers. So we could even name this one number, which is another named variable. You can name your variables anything as long as they start with a letter. They can't start with a number, and they can't start with special characters in Python. So number equals is assigned to let's just say this is a float, 3.0 9. And if you notice something, none of the numbers have open quotations around them because you don't have to in Python. You can just simply write a number. So the 10 at the top is different from the 3.9 at the bottom. One is an integer, the other is a float. And the one in the middle, code, is equal to what we call a string. In English, we'd be calling it words. But since everything here is really words, we call it a string, so we don't get them confused. And the thing that stores them is called a variable. And variables can not begin with numbers. They just begin like regular words. They can contain numbers as well, but they're normally written with a letter and no special characters before them. So the next important thing we'll go is to a print statement. What is a print statement? It's to show something and display some action or display some sort of information on your screen. So every language has that, and that is always the test when I'm learning a language, to see how complicated it is. So if I can just simply go through it, then then I know that, wow, this language is something I want to learn. So let's just do a basic print statement. So we type print open quotations, and let's just print out happy and see what it contains. And look, we get the number 10 because 10 is stored inside happy. And Python does have more data types, but these are the ones you are going to use as a beginner to programming. So the moment you wrote print and you print out your variables, you started to code. You are now a coder. You have made the move from being a non-coder to a coder. That's as simple as how it begins. There's much more to learn, but that's the basics of just getting a print statement started, and that's how variables look. Alright guys, I hope that wasn't complicated. I hope I did not destroy a brain cell or a couple brain cells with that, and I hope that was as straightforward as I intended it to be. And thank you guys for watching. You can subscribe because it only gets better. Alright.